Right, giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bashem Yahushua, Bahara Kakwadash. I'm going to give double honors to the Apostle James that ruleth well, that we learn from. I want to say Shalom. This is, to the sincere Akim, the Akwaf, and Israelite foreigners that are scattered across the four corners, waiting for the return of our Lord. The Lord's will, this lesson be edifying to the Spirit. And Lord's will, not too long, but pretty much. So this is a little young, so-called black woman, Judite woman, pretty much going into the fact that growing up, she never heard the aged woman teach her to, any morals or discreetness, or to love her husband, or to take care of the house, or love their children. They were taught pretty much the complete opposite. I'm going to let this video play. Hopefully it's not too loud for the audio, for the phone. And I'm just going to bring out a couple of scriptures and, wrap it up. Here goes the video.
Do me a favor, hit that like button, and with that being said, let's get started.
I can remember being young and just hearing women speak in past, and when I'm out with my family, or I specifically remember being out with my granny some places and hearing women speak to me, telling me that don't depend on no man for nothing, and make sure you independent, go to school, find you a good career, this, that, and the third. I cannot recall hearing any woman, any elder, black woman, telling me to focus on finding a husband and how to be a good woman to a man. I ain't never heard it.
The reason that this woman has never heard an elder woman in the black community talking about how to be a good wife, how to be a support system.
And one thing I could say to that is, when you read that book, I always bring this up when you read that book, Willie Lynch, the Willie Lynch letter. It goes heavy into, how they was going to break down the family structure, starting off with the man, the father, basically the male, the men of the nation, the male role models, etc., etc. Going into, pretty much, no stability, the men not having any power, no trust amongst each other, basically to the point where it can never be a revolt or, an overthrow. So they destroyed the men. Then they went on to the women. As the scripture says, in order to go into the strong man's house, you had to tie up, the strong man. Then you move on to the woman. This, hold on real quick. Then you go in, then you go into the woman, and it goes into, once you break her psychological, mindset down and not depending on a man, she will pretty much depend on, her master, her lover, pretty much the one that's pimping her, or the one that has broken her mind. And that's Esau. The so-called white man has broken the so-called black woman's mind. Seeing that America is the dominant force, the so-called world power of the world, all these nations looking to America as an all be all. So the so-called black woman is uplifted. She's used for great economics and material gain. And the thing about it, this world, it's like not this world, but Esau pretty much elevated her to a whole new different level, just so they can codependent upon him, his teats. And now what you're seeing is these Edomites, the so-called white man, is pretty much, cleaning his hands from her. The work has been done, the damage has been done, society collapse has been done. And starting off with the so-called black woman, because again, everybody looks towards America. They look, they got, she's pretty much the new standard, that the new whore on the earth. And again, we going into the book, the Willie Lynch letter. It breaks it all down about the so-called black woman, and due to her reverse mindset, has caused a bunch of dysfunction. And he goes in to say it, but I'm gonna let the video rock.
For a black man, the reason why they are pushing out women to not need men is because a lot of these women now, if you go and look it up, a lot of these women do not have husbands. A lot of these women are on the verge of dying alone. And misery loves company. But the reason that they never passed that down is because these women fell for the girl power movement back in the 60s instead of being the support systems for their men, especially in all of the tough times that happened at the onset of the girl power.
Yeah, real quick. Let me see if I can find it real quick. I think it's in Sirach 25. Bear with me one moment. Let me see. So I got two. This is Sirach 25 and I'm going to go to 20 and I'm going to jump around. So Sirach 25 and 20. As the climbing up a sandy way is to the feet of the aged, so is a wife full of words to a quiet man. And majority of men, so-called black men, they get to a certain level from all the chaos, the curses, and the poverty, the oppression, the hardships and adversity that we go through. And it's evident, it's evident. There's no bullshit, there's no lying, there's no front munching and none of that. The shit that we have to go through as so-called black men, Latino, Hispanic men is rough. But again, some of us make it through that adversity, and we find out we really want peace, and not the chaos Esau sets in front of us. So again, these women, from the trauma, the dysfunction, the lies that they're taught from TV, the media, etc. These women believe that nagging and being a dragon and a beast inside the house. They think that's what it is. Especially this new, this bitch gorilla. They, bitch smoking weed, just popping, twerking, etc. They think that's the way it is. Now, what is it? Verse 23: A wicked woman abateth the courage, maketh a heavy countenance. Yeah, that's why you got the passport gang, passport bros, because these so-called black women has become to the point of no return. They're intolerable. There's no point dealing with them. It says a wounded heart, a woman that would not comfort her husband in distress. And again, we are not in our kingdom. We are at war with the so-called white man. He's our enemy. And he's looking for every way to devour us as we speak. So it says, a woman that would not comfort her husband in distress maketh weak hands and feeble knees. So let me, real quick, bear with me. This is Sirach 26 and 7. An evil wife is a yoke, shaken to and fro. He that have a hold of her is as though he held a scorpion. And I'm pretty sure if anybody saw a scorpion, he wouldn't go near it to pick it up and play with it. A drunken woman, verse 8, a drunken woman and a gatherer abroad causes great anger, and she will not cover her own shame. So it says, bear with me. Verse 24, a dishonest woman contemneth shame, but an honest woman will reverence her husband. Yep, a shameless woman, verse 25. A shameless woman shall be counted as a dog, but she that is shamefast will fear the Lord. It's not a coincidence the so-called black women go around calling each other bitches. When you be amongst the so-called black women, that's one of their favorite words to call each other. The bitches. They got that thing, yeah, bitch. So it says, verse 26, a woman that honoreth her husband shall be judged wise of all, but she that dishonoreth him in her pride. And what's the thing with the so-called black woman now? It's all about shaming, putting the so-called black man down. Basically you are a traitor because you think, putting us down, putting the so-called black man down, whatever, you think that's cute, you think that's going to elevate you, you think that that's going to make other nation of men take you and delight in you and pretty much try to take you off our hands. That's not what's going on. That's not what is going on. You're just pretty much being used and you have become and made a sex object. So you only want it for nasty sexual desires, aka ghetto gaggers. Shall be counted ungodly of all. Let me see. So that's pretty much it. Let me go back to the video. So here you go.
Hard movement. You have to understand that we lost leaders. Then you add on the Reaganomics of the 80s, throw in there the crack epidemic, the crime of the 90s. So there is culpability on both sides. But the elder women of yesteryear who did not teach these women that were the first domino that fell. And I can tell you from firsthand experience.
See that? The woman that didn't teach the younger generation of women.
The women that are in my family are all old and they are alone. And they had multiple opportunities to settle with men, but they chose to go their own way, and now they'll end up dying.
And I agree as well. Now, my father being from Cuba, my mother being from the States, on either side I ever heard the women teach the young women to desire in getting a husband. They were always told to pretty much live out the American dream, get a career, build yourself up so you won't do what? Depend on no man. Another thing too, I also, even the men teach their daughters that, which is, confusion. Because really, the father is supposed to give his daughter an hand of marriage. Pretty much the father is supposed to, find a suitable husband, suitable guy to take his daughter. So again, everything, the whole way, the whole mannerisms, the whole duty of things and the way of things is pretty much has been disaltered, broken down. That's why another thing, when it comes to Yahweh Shah, now we see the really importance of Yahweh Shah, the whole, what he did going on a cross, dying for our transgressions. We've been given a grace period. Now we're not underneath the technicalities of the first covenant. Cause boy, oh boy, if he was judged by the first covenant, man, we were, again, we wouldn't be here today, you know. But now since we have that grace period, now we're seeing, we're witnessing all the dysfunction of the lies, the deceit that's been, teach down to us from, Esau first and foremost, then the trickling down from the media, then the trickling down to our households, the breaking of the family. And now we're seeing, starting from the elders of GMS on down, now learning the true way, the light that's being, shown, broadcasted from these lessons to these videos. We've been given another slate, another chance to do better and forget our old way, to put down the wickedness of the society. So now, I'm gonna let the video play.
And so it's crazy to me it's universal. We all know that black women are the group of women who constantly let it be known that they don't need a man. They don't need black men. It's nothing black men can do for them and all this other nonsense that they say, right? So with that being said, if we all know that that is universal, how is it that you can blame a black man for not protecting black women if he know that anything that he does for black women would never be appreciated?
Men are not going to look after anyone, man or woman, who isn't going to have his best interest in mind, who isn't going to appreciate the man that he is. He is not going to sacrifice himself in his life for a woman that is not appreciative of his actions and his abilities, the things that he has to go through. See, men have to take the time and they have to build themselves up into the man that they want to be. We don't just get to be pretty. We don't get to have anybody just take care of us. Most of us have to go out and do something. Because if we don't, the stakes are high. No one's going to care after us, particularly if you're a black man. No one gives a damn. So we have to go out there and put in the work. Women will overlook the good men that are doing what they're supposed to do. For a guy like a Pookie or a Ray Ray, Pookie and a Ray Ray gives the minimal effort but gets the most attention. Whereas you could be a good man, working hard, going to work every day, doing everything that so-called your woman requires of you, and it's still not good enough. And men are seeing that. They're seeing men fail, and they want nothing to do with it.
If he knows that anytime he tries to do something as simple as holding a door open for a black woman, she will look at him up and down like with the attitude and let it be known like she's not appreciative. She don't say thank you. Her face be scrounged up. It's just a whole bunch of nonsense. So if y'all want black men to protect black women, so y'all say, y'all need to change.
And it's to the point. It's over with, He did make one good point. I think he is coming up. He pretty much said, Jake pretty much know you so-called Negro, Latino, Hispanic men. You pretty much know, because, you're having this little new thing now. Women are trying to hum themselves all on camera. They're trying to make it seem like they're submissive. They learned their lessons. But then you go into another one in their videos, they were the same bullshit. So, again, it's to the point now. The jig is up. The Lord has great judgment coming towards these women. Starting with the so-called black woman on down. And any of you so-called women that's of the tribes, Hispanic, Latino, Native American, if you take the ideology of the so-called black woman and, feminism, hey, again, these men they're fed up. They had enough. They're not, they're not falling for that bullshit, them sorry apologies, them fake tears, etc.,
Change y'all home demeanor, y'all need to change y'all attitude. But until then, I can honestly say I don't think black men are going to go out of their way to protect black women, because black women can be very mean and nasty and negative and just be completely and utterly unappreciative for anything that a black man does if it does not involve money. That's the only time she would be nice and soft and feminine, if it involves money. If a man is paying a bill or taking care of her kid, whatever the case may be, if it involves money, she'd be appreciative then. But if it's something small, she would be a complete bitch and have an attitude and be nasty. It's universal. We all know that. So ladies, if y'all want to see a change, y'all need to be the ones who change if you want black men to change as well.
Let me contrary to what you might think, what you might hear. It is to foster the idea of change. If you want to see a different outcome, you have to be different. And that goes for both men and women.
You must already said it, but let me end it with this. So this is Titus 2 and 3. So it says, I'm going to read a couple versions. So let me see. Titus 2 and 3. This is King James, the first one. The aged woman likewise, that they be in behavior as becometh holiness, not false accusers, not giving them much wine, teachers of good things. And the so-called, the aged so-called black woman, she fell for all that bullshit during the feminism. And it just trickled on ever since then. This is the NIV. Matter of fact, where's it new? So this is the Good News Translation. Hold on. No, I'm not going to read that one. Let me see. All right, Salaki. Verse 4. Bear with me. I forgot to hold this verse 4. So it says, that they may teach the young woman to be sober, to love their husbands, to love their children. NLT says, these older women must train the younger woman to love their husbands and their children. It says, to verse 5, to be discreet, chaste, keepers at home, good, obedient to their own husbands, that the word of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua be not blasphemed. This is the NLV, NLT, Salaki. To live wisely and be pure, to work in their homes, to do good, and to be submissive to their what is it? The baddest word ever, submissiveness. It says, and to be submissive to their husbands, then they will not bring shame on the word of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. So and there's other versions too. Let me see. That's pretty much it. You get the point. Scripture says kind. Yeah, y'all get the point. Pretty much wrap it up with that. But 2023, great judgment is coming. The jig is up. The ones that's in this thing, pray you make it. Pray you stand fast, stand strong. Stay humble. And with that, I'm say shalom.